in learning about how obsessive compulsive disorder affects reading. I'm going to address that now because I had a follower write in saying, look, I'm really suffering with rereading and compulsions when it comes to reading. And OCD and reading was something that I was reading the book I'm going to read from to you, which is ironic, Freedom from Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. And this is how I learned I had OCD when it came to reading. It was a surprise to me, and I think it'll be a surprise to a lot of people. You're lucky if you know you have OCD. I was undiagnosed for so long. And just so you know, we do have somewhat of a superpower when it comes to reading because we had to learn so many coping mechanisms. And this is something that's crazy. I have a degree in English literature, and I got that undiagnosed without OCD. Yeah, it's super common, Holly. And then I went and did law school and 2 years abroad with undiagnosed OCD. Yes, I'm going to recommend a book right now. I'm going to read my favorite quotes from Freedom from Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. There's an updated version. I got it on Kindle when I was in Ottawa in that support group. This was the book that we recommended everyone get. So Freedom from Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, Jonathan Grayson, second edition. And so he's got a small chapter on reading OCD. And I've highlighted it. I've obviously reread it a number of times. And I'll just read my highlights so you get a taste of what it is and what he says ERP is for this, like what treatment is for it. Oh, I'm glad you like my account. So here we go. Sufferers who have found a way to be successful usually have given up reading for pleasure, which is so true. I used to love reading for pleasure. I would love to read fantasy now, but God, you just keep rereading the same lines and it's not fun. So it's a tragedy. It can be avoided with correct diagnosis and treatment. So you can treat reading OCD. It sucks though. We'll get to it. So something like this, it contributes to destroying the flow of what you're reading. So the feeling of understanding becomes even more unattainable. Generally, the more important the material, the greater the anxiety. Schoolwork becomes torture. I mean, I was a lawyer for almost 2 years, and I would reread lawsuit material all the time. In the end, it meant that I could really poke holes in things, but like the anxiety of suing either a city or large corporations and you have rereading OCD, you're just constantly rereading what you're saying. Anyway, I'm continuing with the highlights. Likely, you wouldn't read for pleasure. Understanding is not as... okay, so here's the thing. Understanding is not as compromised as we feel. We usually have grasped the main points. The obsession is really perception. So to overcome reading rituals, you have to be willing to not understand portions of what was read or perhaps miss material that might be important. So you have to really, the treatment he's saying is really just read and allow to not understand. So like when you have the compulsion to go back to the top of the page, and it's really hard to not do because it's your eyes, it's an instinct. So to overcome reading rituals, be willing to not understand portions of what was read, or perhaps miss material that might be important. Reading without ritualizing is exposure. And just keep in mind the anxiety driving the rituals. So reading a text to the end without rereading. The book's called Freedom from Obsessive Compulsive Disorder. It's the updated version by Jonathan Grayson. Maybe if I can put text in, I'll put it in this video when I post it. Okay, so that's basically it. And then after this mini chapter, he talks about problems with conversation. I just had a follower write in saying, look, this is something that's affecting my academics, and it affected mine. I mean, in the end, I ended up getting good marks, but it was torture, and a lot of this is torture. So good luck, and I hope this helped. Oh, and I'm giving away free 30-minute coaching sessions to people who haven't had it yet. So you can send me a DM if you're interested. Otherwise, good luck. I mean,